Yo guys, and welcome to this video where I'm going to rank, in this is my opinion, rank top 10 mobile games of all time. And of course this is kind of biased because it matters how old you are, because of course I'm not gonna bring in those like Snake, those really old, because I wasn't there to get the feel for the game. So I'm not going to put that in. So it's only games I've played, and it's my opinion, but it's also like how big the game was. So it's not like some unknown game I played isn't top. This is how big it is, and how good I thought it was. So let's start this off by our number 10 spot goes to Score Hero. This game is not for everyone, because of course not everyone likes football slash soccer, whatever you call it in your nation, or just whatever you call it. But this game truly was the pinnacle of football games on mobile. They had this. It was. Uh, it was just so brilliant made, and it made it made kid version feel like they lived out their dream by becoming a pro in this game, and it was very well set through, and you were kind of part of the game. It felt like you were part of something, and it made you feel like you had your own story, even though actually you really didn't, because you kind of like you couldn't really change anything, because you had to score those goals to move through that stage. So that's but as a kid this felt like the most real stuff. And the thing is, it's offline, so that's great, because if you're on a flight or if you don't have Wi-Fi there, you can still play it. It's not a thing I'll take into consideration when I'm making this top 10 list. It's just a thing that's something that can boost it a little bit. The next one is at number 9, we have Blitz Brigade. This game is it's an FPS. It's a first person shooter game where you had different characters, as you can see here. You had big strong guy, tactical guy, ninja. Ninja was really loved. Like, I loved to play the ninja style. But this game class, like, the best game mode was capture the flag. It's quite easy. uh, it was just, I think this was truly one of my first like uh, multiplayer FPS games, even though you maybe not cannot count it as FPS game. Uh, it's not really, maybe somebody would not uh, give it the tag real FPS game, because it's on mobile, of course. But this game, so many chill, so this game made me so happy, and it also had these special crates with which gave you all this some special stuff, and you have had to become higher level to use different characters. So it was kind of grind, and then when you got that character, it was so cool. I really loved the ninja, and I basically also thought he was so cool. So that's maybe one of the reasons why I love the ninja so much, because when a character looks cool, in your opinion, and this was me as a very, not very, think I was not that old when I played this, so of course ninja with with this outfit looks amazing to me. I've always thought he was the one of the coolest characters. He's probably, if we look back at my childhood, not childhood. I'm still a child. If we look back at some of my older, uh, uh, when I was younger, this guy was my hero. He was not a real person. He was not a character. Yeah, he was a character, but he was not somebody. It was just you could control it, and every kill felt so awesome because the person, this ninja, was so cool. Of course, there was the tanks, and it was really, it felt really creative at the time, and the quality not that good. Of course, it wasn't really that creative, but because it was my first experience with a FPS game, it was truly a real experience for me, and it was something special. Numbered Fruit Ninja. How many people have heard of Fruit Ninja? Nearly everybody. You can ask somebody, oh, name a mobile game. Maybe not all of them will say Fruit Ninja, but many people know Fruit Ninja for. And let's be honest, it's a simple game. It's a simple game. That's the truth. But the simple game is so fun because it gets harder and harder every time you. It's truly the pinnacle. They made food cutting fun. Ooh, like, can't you expect that? They put bombs and foods. Of course, a child is going to like this. If you don't know what it was, you basically just had this kind of sword thing, and then you cut the foods. They threw, threw up in the air. Then you cut them, and then there was these bombs, which also, but you cannot cut them because that's bad, of course, because you're not meant to cut bombs. It's kind of self-explanatory. Now, number 6 is a very, this game, Doodle Jump. It really, this game is so simple. Simple art, simple background, but it's so good. Let's be honest. Who haven't played Doodle Jump? It's just a classic. The art style, even though it's just so even though the art style is just some really like not very really not very special, it's just so iconic because it's like there are intentionally flaws in this. Like you can see it's not fully filled out and all that. That's what I like about a game, when they make something that's truly isn't that special feel special. And this, of course, was something where you felt like you could always beat your high score, but you never really made it to that level. It always felt like you had a chance. It was not one of those games where you kind of hit a dead end and just stopped because of the simple fact that you weren't getting better. It was a game you could play again offline. Many of these games are offline because that's what they were back in the day. I will say that this game has, I don't like the shooting mechanic, but that's all. It's a great, great game, and this is one of the simple. It's one of the most how, iconic games, in my opinion, of all time. Of course, Snake is up there. I wasn't there when it was played on like on a, not a phone, but a mobile. I don't know what is. Number 5 is, of course, Subway Surfers. It's it's a sad story of why the game was created. I don't know if it's true, but I've heard that it was made because the creators had a son which died while skating on the tracks. So they made this game in of him, and I think that's sweet. And then it becomes so popular. It's again not a very. It's probably taking long time to create. Just developing a game is hard, but it's just a simple. It's a simple concept that's, in my opinion, makes for a great game. They've really done it with power ups, and sometimes you get hit and still are running. It's simply, it feels so amazing. Also, the thing that's free tracks and you can get hit by trains and all that. I feel like it's an inspiring story, but it's a good game. I wouldn't put this on if it was a bad game, but the story was like, oh, well, this was. It's not just because. It's not one of those things where, oh, well, this game is good because this happened to the creator. It's not one of those where you feel bad for them. No, of course you feel bad for them, but it's not that reason why it's this, why it's number 5. It's simply a good game. This is a very good tribute in my opinion, and I think it's iconic. Most people have played at once Subway Surfers. I remember my my sisters were very good at it. One of my sisters destroyed. She was like, "Oh, well, I'm not." She was very good at it. Well, I don't know about good or we were all just bad, but that's kind of the point. Now, at number 4 is a game that this game is very important to me in the sense that this is something I would always play on my mom's phone. I've It's just so iconic also. It's such a great story, and the fact it's basically where you run in this science lab, and then there are all those obstacles, and you have a jetpack so you can fly high, and then there was those special abilities like this, as you can see here. He uses a dragon. If he gets hit, he'll he'll go back to square one. He'll still be alive, and if you get hit, you're dead. But because you have this armor, you're not dead. There are all these things that makes this game so quality, and it's just, in my opinion, one of the best games ever made. Mobilely also, it of course there's some bias in this because this is very close to my heart in my so take this, but of course this is my opinion, so it really doesn't matter if there's bias in this because it's my opinion, and I think this game qualifies for a top 4 place. Wait, yes, this is top 5, isn't it? Yeah, my math is wrong. Number 4, Temple Run. This game is kind of like Subway Surfers, but that's just, it follows this man here who's running from these weird creatures, and then he runs on these, and then he gotta go to the side and all that. It's a simple game, but the reason why I put it over Subway Surfers was, how do you say this? The controls felt so much. You had to move your phone the way you would, and that's what I liked about it. You had to move your phone the way you wanted it for both sides, and that felt like you were more in part of this. It's simply a brilliant game that if you haven't tried it, I would recommend trying it. But the simple fact is that nowadays it may not seem that as impressive as it was back then. It was really like everybody had this game, everybody has played it. Number 4, number 3, Hay Day. This, I'm not a very big Hay Day fan, but you gotta admit, the game got a lot of of fans of the whole game, and that's something very impressive to do, to, as a game developer, get a game as big as Hay Day, and then still updated and all that, and still keeping it relatively high. I know some diehards out there are still playing it, and basically this game is about where you are an owner of a farm, and then you have to unlock all crops and build and get a better industry. I only made it to like level 20 before I stopped. But I feel like the thing I liked about this game is the fact that levels actually mean something. It's not just something you upgrade in the side and it doesn't really matter. Because like if you're, I heard somebody talk about how somebody were level 91 or something, and that it was very impressive. And that's something I like, if a game gives this importance of levels, so it's, oh yes, I finally made it, so it feels like you have that achievement kind of thing. Now, number 2, Angry Birds. Angry Birds is so iconic. I didn't play it as much as many people did, but I definitely liked what I saw of the game. But for me, personally, from my playing experience, some of these games that are higher above him, or is it lower, just that are ranked worse than Angry Birds, for me they are better. But I have to admit that if you make such a dynasty, it's a very great game. It's basically where you shoot some birds, which some of them have special abilities. Then you gotta destroy those pigs by hitting some of the wood here and make it fall on the pigs. And personally, it's a great idea. It's one of the most. It's one of this. Who came up with that idea? It's just such a special concept that I think that's what made this game so great. The concept was great. The execution was great. Everything about it was great. That's the thing I feel. That's the thing I have to respect about this game. Everything about it was just so great. It was never seen before. Anyways, number 1, Clash of Clans. Clash of Clans has, it lays right. It has a special place inside my heart. It's one of the games that I believe is great because it's base building. There's a lot of strategy going on. You have to spend a lot of time. It's not just, oh, well, I'll just play it for 5 minutes a day and then I'm done. No, this game you had to grind. And that's what I found impressive about it. It was hard to grind, and you kind of had respect for people that were much better than you because of the fact that you in this game either you use a shit ton of money, and like it wasn't pay to win, I feel, because of the fact that how expensive it was. Nobody would be able to get to the top level by spending a little bit of money. No, it was a lot of money, so it kind of made people go for the let's just play and become good that way, not spend money on. This is arguably one of the most amazing games of all time. The concept, the same with Angry Birds, is amazing. You attack a village as a village, and these special people, special army builds you can use, and all this, there was strategy about it, and you attacked real players, and then other stuff came, and for me it seems like a game that'll nearly always become popular because of the fact that they keep on putting out updates, and updates are very important, and these updates are pretty well made. It's not just let's grab something together. No, when they make an update, they make an update. It's takes crazy time and all that. That's why I believe this game will last for so fucking long before it completely dies off, because of the simple fact that people spend a lot of time on it, so they kind of get like, if you spend like a lot of time on a project you're working on, you'll get attached to that project. And that's how it felt with Clash of Clans. You got attached to it because you played it so much, and then you kind of didn't want to leave. Anyways, I have some honorable mentions because there are so many great games, and so if you haven't seen your favorite game, it's probably in the honorable mentions, unless it's just like a game that's not really that well known. Anyways, honorable mentions. Here we go. Number one, Waze Car Waze, I think it's called. You cannot deny that this is one of the best. It's probably the best mobile uh, race bicycle, or what it's called, a game of all time. The fact it was hard because, oh, if you get hit once, you got to start over. It was just a great game. Number two, the Grand Theft Auto trilogy. Vice City, San Andreas, Grand Theft Auto. I only played Grand Theft Auto, Vice City, and Grand Theft Auto 3, cause that's all I played. But this, I think you can count this whole as the Holy Trilogy. In my opinion, I think Grand Theft Auto 3 was the best of these. Uh, of course, I've only played two of them, but I think Vice City also. Both games had things that made them special. It's not just, oh well, this is above in everything. No, they kind of both had their good and downsides. That's what I liked about them. It also made me kind of, when I was a kid, feel like I was a gangster and all that, and that's, I felt cool. And it's also just it's funny how to think that I think these games are, in my opinion, better than Grand Theft Auto 5, in my opinion, even though Grand Theft Auto 5 has better quality, better longer time being able to play it because there's so much more. I think if Grand Theft Auto, these three, if they had longer story lines, I think it would be a better game, and if they had something to do more. But I also like the fact that you could just drive around and do your own thing and try to get on the golf course. That's always fun. Now, here comes Goliath. Here comes the ones people probably were expecting. Minecraft Pocket Edition. I've loved this game. I've I made, like, I think I had a best friend for like 4 years, and the reason we bonded was because we both liked Minecraft Pocket Edition, and we just became friends over that. Uh, it was kind of school thing because we were just really small, so it wasn't really. But anyways, that's what happened, and that you made it was. It's probably one of the only games I see that you would, as at a young age, make a best friend for life for it. You might say, oh well, Call of Duty, all these games, yeah, no. But this game, we became game friends just because we both played it. That's crazy. I, especially for that age, you would never see that much about it in the groups in the how do I say it? In that time of in that time, it wasn't normal to become friends over games. Like, oh well, yes, it was more normal than it was 20, 30 years ago, but still, like, no one really made friends like that. Most people became friends because they liked Beyblade. I was a big fan of Beyblade, but Minecraft has done so much for the iPhone community. The reason why I don't think it's in the top 10 is simple. I just believe that these games over these games, the games that were in the top 10, were what I felt like a concept that was special. This Minecraft was also special concept, but I just felt like I connected more with the other games. Now, the next honorable mention is some. I know a lot of you have played it. It's Beat the Boss. You cannot say the fact that you could get to had so many ways to beat this poor guy. It just felt amazing. That's the way that came out as serial killer vibes, but that just they made hurting people satisfying and fun. Like, we didn't even know what I can't remember if we get told what is the reason we are punishing him, but we're just punishing him and it feels fun. It's a simple concept. Again, you punish somebody and you have different ways of punishing them. I think that's finito. Now, of course, you cannot forget the crocodile who just wants to take a shower. This is one of the games I think is so tactical. Not tactical. It's, oh, when I was a kid, this was very tactical because you had to find ways about it, and it was so hard, and you just generally fell in love with this guy because he was so happy when he got his reward. It just felt amazing to see him be so happy and feel that experience. You bonded with him very well, and it just felt like, what do I do here? Ooh, this is big brain time. Even though, to be honest, I don't believe it was that big brain, but that's what I like. Anyways, another honorable mention is Cut the Rope. You can Everybody knows this green monster. Anyways, if you don't know this game, it's simple. You have candy on a rope. You want to cut it while you're above the monster so it can eat it. It's generally the reason why I like this game so much is because it's not a game where you use violence like Beat the Boss. It's a game where you help others, and it just kind of is special in my opinion because it's one of the only games where, of course, you help in this one, but this Cut the Rope, this animal, so cute, this monster, whatever it is so cute. It's just, it's just so. It felt very deep inside of me to give this monster candy, and there was these difficult ways you had to remove it. There was a spider who wanted to eat the candy also. That's Anyways, for the last honorable mention is Kick the Body. Kick the Body is one of those games that's exactly like Beat the Boss, but in my opinion better, cause in Kick the Body it felt more like, oh, you had a million ways to kill somebody. It was they're very similar actually. You had to not kill, just defeat this kind of body, like you could call it doll, kinda, but uh, it's just the it, it just made me feel so happy. Serial killer vibes again. This game was something special, in my opinion. When you played it, it's not like you felt tired of doing it, because you found different ways to not kill, but to torture this innocent soul. Anyways, this is all for my honorable mentions, but before, there's still one honorable mention. I can't remember its name. It was an app that was used in, you ready? It was an app used in iPhone 4, I think. It was the app where you could do so much in it. You could, when you open it, there were things you could do, like turn on a light, or all those. I don't really know. I don't remember enough to find the app, so that's just a small honorable mention. Now, the last part is what we've actually learned through looking at these top 10 games and looking at when they were made, and that's simple. There are never going to be games like that again. This fact of the matter is, let's look at Doodle Jump and Subway Surfers and so many more of those games in the top 10 of mine, of course. They were just kinda simple, but still people fell in love with them, and that's the problem. Nowadays, it feels like simple games is kinda not looked down upon, but just people nowadays that are growing up now, like in their I love every video game stuff, is growing up where they have these kind of more, how do I say, more complex games, and that way they find these older games more boring because, well, it's not as complex, it's not as fast paced, not as much happens. Let's look at Doodle Jump from this, actually. Doodle Jump. This game was so simple, but it was so great. That is something we'll never see again. If this was released today, it would never be the same, because people don't like that anymore. People want something where there happens something every second, where it's not just the same thing happening over and over again. And that's what I think, because people are getting more spoiled, because not kids, I'm still a child, but newer kids that are growing up with playing mobile games now are getting so many more choices, that these simple games that are kind of beautiful is getting overlooked, because they don't have the newest graphics. They're not, these games, you could play them today and you'd still find a lot of them funny, and most of these Subway Surfers, in my opinion, has the greatest graphics that are in this. But let's look at again Bridge Brigade. This game, if there were still people on it and I played this, I would still have a lot of fun. But I don't believe, because back then graphics were like that. It felt much. Phone graphics were not as complete as they are today, so this wouldn't look bad. And I think nowadays graphics are really overrated, in the fact that many people look at games with graphics that are not very great in story and in game, how much fun you're having, but because it's better graphics, you think it's a better match. That's the problem with today. With most of these games, they wouldn't last today because of the fact that that they don't have the best graphics, they don't have the there isn't something happening every 6 second. People aren't as willing to go over things and play them again and again. People are more like, oh well, something new has to happen, and something new, feeling new has to happen. Which Blitz Brigade, you could play that game 40 hours a day with no changes, and it would still feel perfect. You felt like you were a part of this game. You were a warrior. You were a ninja. You were a guy with a minigun. You were inside a tank. Nowadays, games don't allow people to have that much kids to use their imagination as much, because the graphics are so good. And it kind of sucks, I guess, for the newer kids, because they will never have that feeling where they're playing a game and it's a lot about, oh, I feel I, I feel like it's just my imagination doing everything and making it 10 times more fun. I don't believe many games are used like that anymore. And that's what I like about these old games. You had to use your imagination a lot more, and simple games would catch your mind. Like this game, Food Ninja would not survive. Blitz Brigade would not survive. Score Hero, I would maybe survive. Doodle Jump would not survive. Subway Surfers would survive. It would Jetpack Joyride. I don't believe it would survive. That's simple. It's just Temple Run would not survive. Heyday probably would. Angry Birds probably would. And Clash of Clans probably it's the most of these games that are probably would are still in high demand. But that's the problem. Let's look at these. Would not survive. Would not survive. Would kinda survive. Well, it would survive. Would not survive. Would not survive. Would not survive. Would not survive. That's the fact of the matter. Mobile games have gotten so good that at the end of the day, it feels like quality is over having fun. It doesn't matter if you're having fun. The fact I'm trying to say is, if you have fun playing a game with the best graphics in the world, that's okay. But if you're also having fun playing the game with the worst graphics in the world, that's okay, because fun is fun. It doesn't really matter. That's just what I'm trying to say. And also the fact that lower graphics games have that ability to bring out your imagination when you were a child more, because not very much happened, so you kind of had to make your own storyline. That's kind of all for today. I hope this was a great video. Have a good day. Bye bye.